The promise paradox. I'm about to reveal the counterintuitive promise strategy that built my business empire from zero capital and why under-promise, over-deliver could actually kill your reputation. Stick around to the end because I'll give you the exact 3-question framework I use to calibrate promises that create raving fans instead of disappointed customers. Under-promise and over-deliver. It sounds wise, doesn't it? Like something Warren Buffett would say while sipping cherry Coke. But here's the thing. Buffett didn't build Berkshire Hathaway by promising mediocrity and delivering excellence. He promised excellence and delivered it so consistently that people literally gave him their money to hold. This old advice is killing businesses because it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what customers actually want. They don't want surprises. They want certainty. Here's the paradox. Promise customers only what you can deliver flawlessly, but deliver it so well they can't believe it's possible. After 4 decades in business, starting with nothing but engineering knowledge and stubborn determination, I learned something crucial. The magic isn't in promising less. It's in knowing exactly what flawless looks like and having the systems to guarantee it. Mark Twain said, "It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt." Business translation. It's better to promise what you can absolutely nail than to promise everything and nail nothing. When I first started my tech venture with no capital, and I mean zero, not daddy gave me a small loan of $1 million, zero, I had to get this right immediately. There were no loans. One broken promise would have killed the entire business. I remember my first major client opportunity. They wanted a complex system overhaul in 6 weeks. My competitors were promising 4 weeks to win the deal. Every fiber in my entrepreneurial body wanted to promise 4 weeks too. But I did something different. I promised 6 weeks, but I promised something they'd never heard before. We'll deliver a system so robust that you won't need our support team for the first 3 months of operation. That was a bold promise because most tech implementations require constant hand-holding. Guess what? We delivered in 5.5 weeks, and they didn't call support for 4 months. That client referred 8 other companies to us, not because we delivered early, but because we delivered exactly what we promised flawlessly. But here's where it gets interesting and where I learned the deeper lesson about promises. Fast forward 2 years, I'm feeling confident, maybe a little cocky. A huge opportunity walks through the door, easily our biggest potential contract. The prospect asks for something ambitious. Integration with 7 different legacy systems, complete data migration, and full staff training in 4 weeks. Now, based on my experience, this was a 6-week job, absolute minimum. But this was the contract that would change everything for us. So I made the classic mistake. I promised 4 weeks. As Winston Churchill once said, the empires of the future are the empires of the mind. Well, my empire of the mind was about to get a reality check. Week 3 arrived and we're nowhere close. The data migration is hitting roadblocks we hadn't anticipated. Legacy system number 5 was apparently built by someone who thought documentation was optional. My team is working around the clock and we're still behind. I had 2 choices, break the promise and lose the client, or deliver something incomplete and hope for the best. I chose option 3. I called the client and told them the truth. We promised 4 weeks and we're going to be honest. We need 6 weeks to deliver what you actually need, not just what fits our timeline. And you know what they said? Thank God. Our last vendor delivered on time, and we spent 3 months fixing everything. That experience taught me everything about the promise paradox. See, here's what most businesses get wrong. They think the promise is the marketing. Wrong. The promise is the commitment. When you promise a Tuesday delivery and it arrives Monday morning in perfect condition with a handwritten thank you note, that's not over-delivering. That's flawless execution of a carefully calibrated promise. Your reputation isn't built on exceeding expectation. It's built on meeting promises that matter. Because as Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Your promises show customers who you are. And here's the right truth. In a world where businesses routinely break promises, simply keeping them makes you seem superhuman. I learned to ask myself, what would this look like if it went perfectly? Then I'd build systems to guarantee that perfect outcome every single time. This is exactly why authority building matters so much in business today. When you're known as someone who keeps promises flawlessly, people don't just buy from you, they believe in you. And belief, my friends, is the most valuable currency in the business. After building multiple companies using this approach, I realized something profound. Technical expertise gets you in the game. Promise reliability wins you the game. Your competitors are making promises they hope to keep. You're making promises you're guaranteed to keep. That's not just good business. That's authority in action. Here's what happened next in my business journey that really drove this home. Word spread about our boring approach to promises. We became known as the company that did exactly what we said we'd do when we said we'd do it. Suddenly, we weren't competing on price anymore. We weren't even competing on speed. We were competing on certainty. And let me tell you something, certainty commands premium pricing. I remember one prospect telling me, your quote is 30% higher than your competitor, but based on what I've heard about your track record, you're actually the safer choice. And we got that contract because promise reliability had become our competitive advantage. But the real magic happened internally. When your team knows that every promise matters, when they understand their work directly impacts the company's reputation for flawless delivery, something beautiful happens. They start taking pride in perfection. As the saying goes, how you do anything is how you do everything. When your team commits to flawless promise keeping, they elevate their entire approach to work. Okay, so you stay to the end. So here's your special framework. The 3 questions I promised that I use to calibrate every business promise. Question number 1, can I stake my reputation on this outcome? And if the answer isn't an immediate yes, don't promise it. Your reputation is your most valuable business asset. Every promise either builds it or erodes it. There is no neutral. Question 2. What would flawless look like to the customer? This isn't about your internal standards. It's about their definition of perfect. I learned to ask prospects, what would success look like from your perspective? And the earlier you ask that, the better. Their answer becomes my promise. Question number 3, do I have 3 backup plans if my primary plan fails? Because Murphy's Law doesn't take holidays. If you can't think of 3 ways to deliver on your promise, you're not ready to make that promise. Use this framework religiously. Print it out, put it on your wall. Make it your pre-promise checklist, because in business, as in life, your word is your bond. And remember, the best promises aren't the biggest ones. They're the ones you can guarantee to keep flawlessly every single time. Remember, perfect your promises first and then perfect your delivery. Your customers don't want surprises. They want certainty they can bet their business on. This approach transformed my business from cash-strapped startups to industry leaders, and it's the foundation of everything I teach about building authentic authority in your market. If you found this valuable, hit that follow button, because I share the real strategies that build multiple businesses from nothing but determination and smart systems. And drop a comment below. What's one promise your business makes that you'd stake your reputation on? Because at the end of the day, your promises aren't just about what you deliver. They're about who you become in the process of delivering them.